Welcome
to the Bring Me to Life podcast.
It's time to wake up
and shine on. Cool. So welcome back.
Welcome. Here we are.
I'm excited for our new intro. I can feel it.
Oh yeah.
All right. So in our last episode, we talked about angels, guides, travelers.
Oh man.
What all of it.
I love that topic.
We're gonna keep talking about it. We took a quick break. The angels told me to turn some more lights on and to just channel. So I realized that I channel through light.
Turn more lights on.
No, so you're laughing. That's fine. I laugh at myself too because I'm allowed to. That's how I channel.
Oh yeah.
Joy and laughter is really great because it is kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that I channel through light because you
in particular channel through light.
So you just saw me turn all those lights on.
Yeah.
Because I've claimed my name as Shannon. I've been adopted by so many people that like the universe told me through a Michael, one of my friends named Michael, said, when you know your name, you'll know it. Mm-hmm. Because I was having this existential crisis of what my last name needed to be because I'd been adopted by all these different families. They all had different last names and all of them played a part in who I was and am. And I was breaking down to my friend Michael, who I've always had a friend Michael, so many of them. Shout out to the Michaels, Archangel Michael. So wow, thinking back on it, I really always have. So when I needed my imaginary friend to come to physical, he did. Yeah. Anyway, so he once told me, because I went through my Shantastic Shine phase, and I was like, this is like my art name. Yeah. And it still is. I still use shantasticshine.com. It's still a part of me. But my last name wasn't always Shine. It's who I am. It's who I claim to be because when he said that, I said, okay, I'll know it. Yeah. And somebody kept telling me like Shannon Shine, Sunshine. They kept calling me Sunshine. Actually, I started going to this place called Sunshine Daydream. Most hippie places have a Sunshine Daydream somewhere. Yeah. Anyway, so it was like my into understanding.
Is that the name of a song from the Grateful Dead?
Yeah, that's why there's a lot of Sunshine Daydream places.
I'm still pretty far behind on the whole
Grateful Dead. It's a spiritual outlet for so many people.
I know some of their songs now.
People. Yeah. But so they have actually a lyric that's like, you'll find the light in the strangest of places if you look just right.
Nice.
And that was something that stuck with me through my journey. Even before I knew what Grateful Dead was, it was always like, you'll find the light in the strangest of places. So I channel through light. So I'm in a room right now, guys. We moved we were recording in what was like our kind of like office area. And it was like, I want to be a deeper channel. Yeah. I went to the bathroom and the angels were like, when you're surrounded by like lights that make you feel good, that you channel better because it channels through the speed of light. Yeah. Within seconds, I had that thought and I was like,
good pictures to look at too.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's a lot of work. I'm not going to make him move it. I came out and Selo was like, I'm trying to figure out how to move the chair. I'm like, are you trying to put it in the room where I just hung all the lights? And you're like, oh, well, that's fine. And I realized like I channel through light. I channel through fire. I really like connecting with candles. Yeah. And not in like a weird, like, I don't want to set shit on fire. That's not me at all. There's some people that do that. I like being near a candle, but I'm also terrified of candles. I've died in fire in past lives. I know it. I have family members that have also died in fire. Fire is a scary thing to me, but I love it in a spiritual tool. Yeah. So please be careful with your fire.
Have you seen Avatar Aang?
Be careful with your fire.
Have you seen Avatar Aang? And the Avatar: The Last Airbender, the cartoon series on Nickelodeon. When he learns fire, he burns people, and he gets
so scared.
Yeah,
I'm a fire sign, so I get really scared too. I'm powerful with it.
So just like with fire, I think you have to be the most careful because it can catch everything else on fire so quickly.
Right. So the angels taught me that quickly too. They were like, "Girl, you've played with fire before. We're going to channel you through light this time." Yeah. So now I use light. I've become Shannon Shine. I love lights, pretty lights. I have a selenite light. I got a lava lamp light. I'm surrounded. So we DJ weddings and we help with weddings. And so many people throw out the lights. And I'm like, what? So I just collect light. Don't send me any more right now. But you can. I mean, you can. I'll find a home for them.
You know what's cool about light?
Throwing them away. What?
What's cool about light is how data can travel through light. There was an experiment done by David Woolcock, and he talks about it where he had, they had like I forget it even, it was like a lizard egg or like an alligator egg or something like that. And then they shine like a chicken DNA pattern basically through a light into the egg. And then the egg changed to the pattern of that DNA that they were like shining through. Huh. So it's like information like our DNA can travel through something like light. So think about like what that means for our sun in the solar system. And what does that mean for all the other suns that our sun is connected to? The great central sun.
The central sun. I have so many theories on the sun. I wouldn't say I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I have so many theories on life.
Yeah.
And like the sun is something that's really intense. Like I've sometimes explained it as like where we connect our battery. Like, you know, you plug a phone charger in or a computer charger in and it's just like this spark of energy. That's our sun in our like simulation. But I also like believe in a greater energy, like a God entity.
Definitely.
Isn't it cool? We can have like multiple viewpoints on that.
Because I know like back in the days of like Solomon and Sheba, they talked about the like energy of the sun, like the sun god.
Okay, yeah. So we're gonna dive into past lives sometime, but we'll just mention that we have a deep connection to like the Solomon timeline and the Sheba timeline. And Sheba worshipped the sun. That was like, so
that's
before
what I was like saying.
I know. Sorry, I'm over here dominating the conversation. Got my blue crystal, keeping me grounded in my throat chakra. So Selo was saying that Solomon and Sheba. So Sheba, go ahead, talk about it.
Oh no, you could talk about that. That's all I was gonna say. I don't know. You probably know a lot more about it than I do.
Well, one of the theologies has it that she was the sun worshiper. She was the one who was supposed to be married to the sun. And I've always had this connection of like, it's always kind of been like being connected to the sun in the almighty energy, not God. Like I'm not married to God. I'm not that like closed-minded. Like it's like this energy that made us something. And that's like what Sheba's thoughts were. And then she met King Solomon, who was like, I believe in this God and this energy and Christianity in this way, but I also have this temple that allows all of my followers to figure out their own path.
It's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah. And they're these like large religious figures, but also spiritual entities. I've connected a lot with the Queen of Sheba.
Yeah.
And like, I want to learn more about her. So that's why I want to save that for a deeper podcast. But it is like
even that could be like a guide. Like obviously Queen Sheba's a huge guide for like a lot of people.
Queen Sheba.
Yeah.
And you definitely, I mean, people named you Selamon. Like, so I just talked about, I claimed my name as Shannon Shine because I channel through light. We got to this topic because we were recently talking about channeling and like archangels.
Angels.
We're going to get back to that. But so they told me like, okay, you were birthed as this person. You went through these different like transformations, and now somehow at some point somebody basically named me and helped me confirm. They were like, once you get named it, you'll know. So I started making all these pictures with light, and we're going to do your story in just a second. How did you make
a picture with light?
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your story too, but I do want to talk about this. So I started painting because Archangel Raphael, this entity that was just this energy, I didn't know her name was Raphael then. It's just an energy that was guiding me when I was lost. I would say, universe, just something like, give me some hope here. Like what? And then these energies, they weren't harming me. They didn't tell me to do anything bad. They were like, create art, follow your passion. What brings you joy? How can you connect with people? So I was like, I'm going to make art. I'm going to start painting. So then I started going to these festivals.
Painting is a great expression.
Yep. So this goes back to like the sunshine daydream part. And I was like, okay, so I started going to this place called Sunshine, and they started calling me Sunshine because they were like, Shannon Shine, Sunshine. And I was like, Shannon Shine? And I started making paintings with glow-in-the-dark paint. And I would say, it doesn't glow, it shines. Because glowing, I don't know why. But yeah, then Shine Time became invented. And it was like the angels channeled it through me, and they were like, this is the you that makes you happy. This inspires people. Look at, like, when you are able to just be your authentic self and make art and then Shine Time was born. I started playing with like these black lights and art paint all the time. And people were just like, Shin and Shine. And they got excited when I would come around. And I'd be like, wow, they do like me for me. They don't want to see me being this emo person. And the angels were like, yeah, so just keep being you. Mm-hmm. And Joe Field guided me. So then we got to another series of events where I connected with other angels. But I feel like you've kind of also had these experiences too. So we'll keep talking about angels, but how did you get your Selamon name?
Well, so the Lost Season, the very beginning of the Lost season was when I was working at my 2 jobs, and then it felt like that pull again. That pull started coming up, and this event popped up, and it was like thousands of people are gathering to fulfill this Native American prophecy of a new world. And it was like during 2012, and it was in like October. And I was like
2012, and
it was just like this big thing that like I couldn't get out of my mind. And it's like part of what I'm writing a book, and like that character is going through similar things, but
we're both writing books. Hopefully one day they'll make it public.
Yeah,
it's goals. Dream big, never quit.
Right.
Anyway, so you're traveling. How do you get the name Selamon?
So I go to this event that just pulls me to it. I meet my friend Wes, and I meet like 5 or 6 other people, and some of them I'm still connected to even. And we were all in a circle. It was like the first time I started doing Reiki.
Mm-hmm. I talk about Reiki in one of my podcasts too. We talk about Reiki in a lot of podcasts.
It was like the first time I like we did it, and we did a group Reiki on one of the group members who was like having tummy pains, and it helped them a lot. Like a lot. And it was like the first time I saw it. Right, energy healing. It was the first time I ever experienced it like in that surreal. So we were all like hanging out in a circle talking and just talking about spirituality. We were talking about like the Rastafari movement, like all the different kind of paths basically that exist on your spiritual path. And they were like, I guess they asked me what my last name was or something. And somehow they found out my last name, and it's Clausen. So it's like it starts off CLO, and if you put a dash in between like the C and the L, it's like it looks like a Selo. C-LO.
So they started channeling it to you in a way that you could understand.
Yeah. So they started calling me Selo, and I was like, oh, cool. And then we were talking about the Rastafari movement, and just how those people were like a spiritual revolution, basically. And then they started saying Selamon, and I'm like, and it kind of like sent like a vibration through me, and I was like,
so you knew, like once you knew your name,
like,
you knew,
Selamon,
like this is who I am.
I spelt it a different way at that time, but it was still the same. Like, and people tried to figure it out all the time, and it's okay. It's like it's still a powerful name to me, and I'll keep introducing myself as whatever. I'm fine with that. I like the name, and my family gets upset about it sometimes, but
I think my family's like, you changed your last name to Shine. I'm still in the process of doing it, but like,
I don't think they probably just don't want you to be a cook anymore.
No one knows where the cook name came from.
That's okay. You're starting your own lineage.
Yeah. Well, it's because in a past life, I believe I really connected with like Queen of Sheba, and I dedicated my life to the light. And became a Shine. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a cool declaration. But yeah, that's basically what happened. Like, this is the light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. That's why it's like my favorite song. Like, yes. I even talk about this. Like, I lost my mom to that song. You would think I would hate it, right? But no, it empowers me. Yeah, that was my turning point. Like, wow, I'm this young child, and this just happened. I looked at my aunt and I said, my aunt loves telling this story. She said, Shannon, you looked at me, and this is how I know my life. So maybe she said, you looked at me and you said, things aren't ever going to be the same. And I said that to her as like a 6-year-old, and I started channeling it to her. We actually just like, it kind of stuck out to me too, because we just watched Harry Potter again. We just rewatched the whole, like,
and Hermione
says that, and you brought it up, and I was like, dude, my aunt just told you this story too. I don't know if you remember, she told it to us when we last visited. And we started talking about my family. And she was like, you looked at me when your mom died, and you said, it's never going to be the same. And I never understood how a small child could look at me and say that with such a steady voice. And actually, like, she said she knew it to her core, that I understood it. And like, yeah, I've witnessed and I've struggled a lot with the loss of my mom, but I've had angels by my side for as long as I can remember. And I firmly believe, because I've been willing to have that connection, that it's had it. And that's also why I dedicated, like, I want to be a part of the light. So I went through that phase too, where I was like talking to probably demons and stuff too. And I was like, I think I'm a Wiccan. I think I'm dark. Like, these energies are talking to me. I went through my teenage phase where I had all the witch books and I was looking at spells, and I still like think that stuff's like interesting. Like, I firmly believe our words are spells.
There's some
Harry Potter phase.
Helpful ones, yeah.
I think Harry Potter opened a lot of people's eyes. Even you said, like, your dad changed your dad's life.
Yeah, it changed my freaking
Harry Potter
dad's life, because he was, he's a Christian man. Like, and magic is like evil. Magic is evil,
and it changed his life.
So, like, and he didn't want to read Harry Potter at first. He didn't want to watch the movies, but then for my birthday, every year it came out on my birthday. Basically. So we started going for my birthday, and he fell in love. He read all the books. Like, he cries every time he watches.
So didn't your dad go to school to be a preacher or something like that?
He did.
So this is why I always like to ask you where you were at in your spirituality. Just for a quick base, like, nothing against your dad or anything. Like, I just want to know, like, where you were, because you basically grew up a preacher's son in some ways.
In some ways, he was like the youth pastor for
like, he took a different path.
Right.
We'll just leave it at that. He took a different path.
Yeah.
And things shifted, and it helped make you who you are today.
Absolutely.
And we love that. Your dad's so cool. Sometimes he does really silly things, and I love it. Your dad, I'm talking about your dad.
That man, since, like, he had an anger problem, and we got in fights, and it got physical, but not nearly as bad as his dad and himself.
But now that from experience.
But now that he's older, he's the most chill, like, silly.
He loves dancing and making.
Dude, he loves to dance and wiggle.
Oh man, he wiggles.
He wiggles.
Danced with your dad at your sister's wedding. That was, he needed a moment. It was cute. You disappeared, so I was like, I'll just dance with your dad. Yeah, people need to know that you love DJ them. Stuff. Like, me and your dad haven't had many like moments, but I respect him as a man. So I was like, I'll dance with your dad at the wedding. Everyone else is dancing. Why not? People deserve to be loved.
Dad.
So going back to so my family knew I was crazy and talking to energies, but they didn't know how to express it. So I dedicated in past lives. So that's why I feel really connected to Sheba. She was supposed to marry the son, but then she also marries King Solomon, which if you're connected to Solomon, then of course I got to be the Queen of Sheba, right? I have a drum I named Sheba. And it just kind of channeled through me. Like, I went through a phase where I loved and hated drum circles. I still have that phase, actually. It's like I love them, but then if I can't get in the rhythm, then I'm frustrated, because that means my energy's not on point. But when I get into it, I do feel like it puts me back into like a tribal trance of a different lifetime. And I'm just like, I lived this life in this jungle with these panthers. And then it puts me down a wild rabbit hole. Totally sober. Like, I like to remind people that I have most of these experiences sober. I don't actually like drinking and stuff like that. Like, it's not my thing. And I lived in a household that, like, tripping and stuff I didn't know what like acid or drugs really were. Like, I did from my dad. Like, I knew what everything was up until age 10, and then I didn't know what anything was. I was super sheltered, and I learned through things like TV and like brief friends jokes. I was like, what?
Because such a contrast.
Huh?
Contrast.
Yeah. But then the archangels would tell me, they would like seed things through that I needed to know. I'd be like, universe, like, show me what I need to know. And then the universe would show me. And I think it put me through my Wiccan phase for a reason. It was like, you need to know what darkness is. You need to know what you're playing with here. Like, if you're opening up to angels, you're opening up to magic of life. You need to know the dark side of it too. So I've seen the darkness. I've danced with demons. I've had some wild conversations. Be careful and
protect yourself.
I've learned how to shield.
Yeah, so what are some good ways to shield?
I love crystals.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm like the new kid that's like, I love turtles. No, it's Shannon's like, I love crystals. I love crystals.
I love crystals.
That should be a meme, me holding my crystals. I love crystals. That's my new meme, guys. This is me channeling from the universe that needs to be a thing. Please share it.
I love it.
No, I need to make lots of crazy pictures of me holding crystals, and you guys can all do it too, and we can all be memes together. I love crystals.
I don't know if I want to be a meme.
I'm just kidding. Oh, it doesn't matter. I pulled a Joe Rogan and just threw it out into the universe. Isn't that how he got people to like attack Area 51?
That's what I heard.
Wow.
From the bird.
Throw it out into the podcast first. Anyway, so
podcasts
we're
huge.
protecting ourselves right now. We're putting shields up.
So one way that I also like to protect myself by,
other than crystals
and putting my bare feet on the ground, like playing music.
Music's a good one. And, but positive music. Don't be channeling demonic energy.
Right. That's true. Okay. So
music's dark.
So sometimes you can like have a coin that reminds you that you're protected, or you can have like anything that could help you to remember.
That's why I like
be
crystals.
A symbol of crystals are great for that, and like tokens.
That's why like sobriety people have tokens and coins. And then other people have like the 10 Commandments.
You could call upon your family members who have passed.
Yeah,
you could call upon spirit animals.
Mm-hmm. We've been working a lot with animals in my classes.
Yeah.
I have some cool animals. You have a lot of cool animals. Yeah. I'm excited for our animal podcast. We're going to do that soon too. We could
totems all over
now.
There's so many totems all over.
Yeah, I feel like it's its own thing. We're gonna dive into that because people are like, I want to know how to connect with my spirit guides, and right now we're talking about how to shield from things. So, I use crystals. He uses music. I also use energy bubbles, so I visualize like energy around us. I've seen auras since I got hit with a soccer ball as a kid after my mom died. That's a story in podcast, couple podcasts before this one. Yeah. So anyway. I put a shield up of this energy and I visualize the things that I need at the moment. I try not to say like the things I want. I try to tell the universe like the things I need to help me evolve because I've as dedicating my energy to the light, I've also dedicated it to evolving and being a channel.
Getting better is part of, I love it. It's like it gives such a good like drive to live. Is that that you can get better. Mm-hmm. You can be better.
Always improving. Never stop improving.
Yeah.
Never stop improving. Build your shield and allow in what you need to evolve, and that you believe in yourself enough to. So I do like the Serenity Prayer.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good one.
That's something that's on like the sobriety coins too. Mm-hmm. It's like, God grant me the wisdom to accept the things I cannot change and the courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference. I just mangled that, but yeah, you get the point. God grant me the wisdom.
grant me the serenity.
No, I think it's wisdom.
To accept the things that I cannot change.
Good thing we've got Google.
The courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference.
Right, I think it's something you can like mold to what you need, but that's the gist of it.
St. Francis has a prayer. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace.
Yeah, that's a good one. Gabby Bernstein has one too. It's from the Course of Miracles, and it's like, what would you have me say? Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? That kind of thing.
I don't know that one, but maybe
it's from A Course of Miracles. Gabby Bernstein. I think Marianne Williamson talks about it too. Nice. She was running for president. I wish she would have kept going. I mean, I wasn't like, I shouldn't say that. I don't do politics.
Right. It's definitely nothing we can like.
I don't do politics.
we could totally talk about it though.
I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Let's not go down.
We don't want to do. We want to do the things.
But
we're not sugarcoating it. But we're not going down politics. Right now.
I will say, all those politicians need a lot of love.
Definitely, I send love all over. So
they fucking need they need to be healed.
Another way you can protect yourself is to not watch the news. Like specific news. Like have your outlets that you trust. Get a diverse story. I love getting the both sides story. I love seeing things from both sides. Like, so my family, some of them are super conservative, some of them are super opposite. And then I love seeing both sides because I find that like, I like that middle ground. Like I want to see it from both perspectives and understand it. So when I do like life coaching and stuff too, I want to see it from the other person's point of view so that I can help the person that's like questioning it. So like I'm that person when it comes to politics and news. So protect yourself by only allowing yourself to not be dominated by negative news.
That's like being mindful. Like 101, just be conscious of your media intake and conscious of everything that you put inside your head or inside your body. I think there are a lot of great things that you can do, but there are some things that you just, you gotta understand how it makes you feel, and if it doesn't raise your vibration or make you feel more joy and like you're living your purpose, then you need to reflect on that.
When you're channeling, you're living your divine purpose. Yeah. You're like able to connect with spirit, and it's like, oh, this is why you're here. I'm going to let you know. And that's sometimes, like I said, I see them as energies. My imaginary friends from when I was a kid, they're just energies. They're not people. I think that's also why the archangels don't have a gender. We talked about that a little bit in the previous podcast. Jessa Reed talks about that too. She's like, she was channeled like, we're not going to have a gender. And now there's all these like, I'm still trying to release my attachment to pronouns. I like saying he or she. Yeah. I for the long time I used to say it, and people got mad at me. Huh.
Interesting.
Because they don't want to be an it. They just don't want to be anything. They'd rather be a them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So I love you guys. I do my best to use my pronouns properly. We are like such a welcoming community here. We DJ prides. We have a huge presence in our pride community. We're going to leave it at that. I'm sure that's a podcast that'll come up. So I think gender fluidness is a thing. I just don't even know how to pronounce it myself yet.
I wrote a story a long time ago when I was in college. I went for a semester at a private college. Somebody paid for it, so I went because no loans, thankfully.
Manifestation.
Yeah, I know. It was for real.
No loans. That's awesome.
Yeah, and so thank you. So, so I read the story as part of one of my assignments, and it was about this old man, or maybe I don't know, but it was about this old man who he loses his purpose for living because his spouse passed away before him, and he's like,
that happens a lot.
He just goes about his day and doesn't do anything. He's like, why am I even here? And then he gets a ring, and he goes for a walk and he finds a baby, and then he calls his daughter, who ends up adopting the baby, and then the baby becomes some awesome thing for the world and does
helps
great
the
things.
Whole family reconnect. So not every old man's going to find a baby, but that's a really cool story, and I think that we should print it out and put it in nursing homes.
Yeah,
and inspire old people to live more.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
It's a good story, but I forgot why I was even bringing it up.
You were bringing it up to channel that sometimes we get messages later.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I don't know. I'm sure it made sense.
So.
We were talking about gender fluidly. I don't know how you got onto that.
Okay, so yeah, I'm glad we brought that up because it makes so much sense now. So after to me, after the old man gives the baby away, and he finally has his peace, and he leaves the earth, and I tell the story of his experience basically as he's rising up into heaven, and in heaven God is. It's got a female and a male voice. And God
can be a woman.
I always, in my mind, just felt like God was both or...
Right. That's why I don't like church, and it's makes you feel like this old man's watching you or something. I
always thought it was
just entity.
It wasn't one or the other. It was I don't know.
It's what home is. It's what spirit is. So it's just everything.
Yeah, so I wrote that story out a long time ago, and it's cool to think back and be that's
gender
how I
fluidly.
interpreted God. Is it had a pleasant and calm male and female
it's not
voice.
This old man in the universe that's judging you and telling you that you're terrible.
In my description, it was a source of light, but he couldn't see where the source was, and it's got this voice that's got male and female coming out.
Was he willing to accept that? Was the old man willing to accept that in the story?
Definitely, because God ends up showing him what happens to the kid, and he watches the kid go through journaling and doing speeches and basically changing the world for the better. That's awesome. In heaven while he's in heaven.
But God in the story had no gender. I love that. So I think that's where I was going to is so the angels and the guides and the things we have don't necessarily have to have a gender.
Right.
I'm not exactly sure how we segued into that, but. We're going back to archangels.
Oh, I just some of the art is so beautiful, and it does look like they are very just aspects of both.
Yeah, I mean, there's like that one, I think it's Michelangelo. Oh, go figure, a guy named Michael. He channeled, and it's like the hands where they're touching, and it's like on the ceiling of some famous church.
Yeah.
And he was channeling the angels, and they don't really have like a full-on, they might have genders, but like it's just angelic. Like we just think of it as angelic. Yeah. Which is awesome. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. I think that's why when we see aliens, or what we consider aliens too, they don't really have a gender. I think that's where the grays come in. There's people that see the grays and they're travelers. Yeah.
So what do you think how do you think the angels feel about like the physical world? I
think we're like entertaining for them for sure. We give them purpose. We give the angels a purpose. Yeah. They're like, oh, these guys haven't figured out how to travel through light and space yet, so we get to play like middleman, and they get to like, they don't necessarily gossip, but they're like, oh, this one needs to learn about this, we'll introduce it to this, we'll talk it to this.
Do you think they like go on dates with their infinite selves and like have coffee and stuff while they talk about?
I think they channel through us to do that. They channel through us to have those experiences.
So we like all the things that we do, it's like they get to experience in like a different view.
Sure, why not? Because when we experience them, we're experiencing us in a different view.
So what do you think happens like when we're playing and our angels are there together? What are they doing?
Like that you got it playing, because that's what they call it in The Sims. When we're doing the reproductive thing. Yeah.
No, not that, but...
Oh, I thought that's what you meant.
Just making love,
Right. That's, So the thing. So sex.
Sex.
Yeah. So, but I like that you called it playing, because that's what they call it in The Sims. Yeah. Simulation.
It's a cute.
So what do you think? I think angels think about that. Well, if you do it in a divine way, I think they channel through you, and definitely that's when people have some most like angelic, divine, powerful sexual experiences. Yeah. And then I also think demons can channel through sexual experiences. And that's how we have fucking rape and shit.
That's terrible. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. But that's what I'm saying. Like, be careful what you're channeling in.
It's because your sexual energy is so powerful. It's like,
it's a divine channel.
Such a big thing.
Did you know that your throat chakra and your sacral chakra are the two most intertwined chakras?
I did not know that.
Well, I knew it, forgot, and relearned it like this week while I'm teaching my chakra class. I love how I learn and teach things too. But I've looked up several different things, and I've always thought that. So, like, your throat chakra is, your communication and talking, but it's also your self-expression. Well, your self-expression plays off of your creativity and how confident you are, which is your sacral chakra. So your throat chakra is going to be more activated if you can come to terms with how you use and activate your sacral chakra, whether that's sexually, creatively, artistically, musically.
Hopefully, like
if you're someone who loves being a mom, if you're somebody that loves being a parent, you use it reproductively. Like that's being a channel. That's a super spiritual, like the most spiritual. You're creating another freaking galaxy inside of you, and you had a male counterpart that's considered male because it has the sperm capacity. Sometimes, I mean, we see the spiritual thing happen in a petri dish, for fuck's sake, but it's still a spiritual thing. It creates a walking, living, breathing experience. Yeah. Powerful stuff.
Nice. I like it a lot. So I think that's awesome. I hope our angels really enjoy it. I feel like Michael in particular enjoys them. Archangel
Michael. So we always bring up how we're really connected to Archangel Michael. I had a real talk with him once, and the real as in like I closed my eyes and I saw him in my head, and I said, give me... I talk about this too, like, give me a friend that will understand and that can channel you.
So you saw, like, when you closed your eyes, you saw him.
I don't even know how to explain.
You saw Archangel Michael.
Like,
you saw them.
Now I know that, like, it's hard to look back at it because now I know Archangel Michael is like this entity represented with like a shield and a sword. Yeah. But Michael to me then was honestly like, you know how a lot of people have this visual of their perfect partner? Yeah. And it's like, you kind of know what they look like, but you don't really. You just are like, oh, I'm attracted to that. And like Archangel Michael in my head was all the pieces of like things I was attracted to. And like when I would close my eyes, and not even like attracted to in like a physical, like I wanted to fuck Archangel Michael way. I mean, yeah, cool. Archangel Michael's awesome and hot, but more so like, like when I closed my eyes, he felt safe. Yeah. he felt like a protector.
It's a good protector.
So some people have like this daddy fetish or something.
Yeah.
And I've never had that. I guess maybe because like, I'm not saying my dad was awesome. He did some dumb shit. Oh, yeah. But I've never had a daddy fetish. Right. I've kind of thought it was weird. Yeah. I'm sorry. You're allowed to be weird. I still love you. People have mommy fetishes too. But so mine is more like what I want in a partner, and I would close my eyes and what would make me feel the most safe. Like it doesn't, in like some depictions of Archangel Michael were super muscly. Mine wasn't. Yeah. Mine's like very fit. And like the hairstyle was never a thing in my head. Like that wasn't a dominant detail. I knew it would be a creative hairstyle. So it was just like, I didn't even look at his hair. I'm like, okay, this entity's talking to me. Why would I look at its hair? So when people are like, what's Archangel Michael look like? So you've seen this
in your mind?
Yeah.
Like, in your mind's eye.
How else do you describe that? Like I feel it, I guess. I feel his presence and I say his, but it's not really. I guess because I'm a female. I'm sure that guys might feel.
What it was wearing?
Sometimes it was just like, I guess I didn't look at it.
So it happened like multiple times. You'd close your eyes and feel it?
Yeah, I still do. Like I can close my eyes and I have this like entity in my head, but I can't describe it in full detail. That is Michael.
Gotcha.
And it protects me.
Yeah.
And makes me feel safe, and it gives me warnings. And
nice.
When energies or things are really frustrating to me, I can call upon Archangel Michael, and I feel like it helps put the shield down.
It does. He does.
And so like I had this conversation with this entity in my head or whatever. So yeah, okay. Some people are like, she's got voices in her head. No, this was like an energy that was comforting and is comforting. And I was like, give me this physical channel so you can talk to me and I'll hear it. I wanted someone that was willing to channel the messages I needed to hear in a loving way. And you know what? You do that all the freaking time. And sometimes you don't realize you do that. And that's why, like, you told me, you're like, oh, I like to connect with Archangel. I'm like, oh, me too. So you can channel it. And you're like, yeah, kind of. Like, not on command, but like, I guess I'm a channel. I'm speaking for you now.
I feel like I definitely used to. And I'm like, I really enjoy channeling, like the vocal way. So like the first time I did it was when I was like in San Francisco in the middle of Haight-Ashbury, where like the Grateful Dead recorded their.
That's wild. You have so many Grateful Dead connections.
I know.
You don't know much about.
I know.
them.
It's so funny.
It's okay. Me too.
Okay. So it was the first time I took multiple kinds of psychedelics, and all of a sudden I just felt this presence. And I started walking with like my friend and somebody else, and like I closed my eyes, and it's like this trippy kind of like spreading out of almost like a tree. It's like a circle in the center, and it spreads like into different branches and stuff. And it's like, it looks so cool. And it was like God showing me the tree of life. And so I walked to the end of the street, and across the street is Golden Gate Park, and there's a huge tree that bows at me. And
so
it's the first time I really see anything that like visual, and I'm like, wow, that is crazy. And so I start walking through this park, and it's like gets really late at night, and I find myself in the very center of this like. It's like a giant peace symbol that people painted or chalked. And it's on right in front of this place where they call Hippie Hill. All these hippies gather and like meet up.
It's usually where you find a big peace sign, yeah.
Hippie Hill. So it's like midnight or something. I don't even know. Nobody's there except for me. And I sit down and I start channeling with Archangel Michael. And first I just hear him as like thoughts in my head. And so I'm like responding to him by my thoughts in my head. So we're communicating in my head.
So you communicate like this too. I'm not crazy.
Right.
Cool.
And so then then all of a sudden, like he starts talking to me through thoughts, and I start speaking out loud, verbally. Like I ask my questions out loud because I just feel, I don't know, I'm called to do it. And then he starts answering me, and then all of a sudden I start asking questions in my mind, and he starts answering.
I feel like I do that a lot
through my vocals, like. And it was like a beautiful dance with Archangel Michael of like him communicating through my body while I communicate through my mind, and then vice versa. And it was like really, really cool.
I think that's why it's important to record things and listen to things. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
It feels good to like talk about these things.
Yeah. Get it out. Let's get it out.
Definitely.
And it brings people together, I think. A lot of people come together on such topics and ideas and philosophies.
Cool. Well, I'm still feeling the flow. I want to give the listeners a quick break, and we're going to go to a new episode, I think. But at the end of episodes, I like to give a shout out. What do you want to give a shout out to today? Like, do you have like a website or anything you want to talk about? Something going on?
Well, I always have events in Cumberland. If anybody's in the Cumberland area, you can also reach out to me online, selamonofficial@gmail.com. You can email me. I always love getting emails. And if you want to subscribe to my email list, then you can email me, selamonofficial@gmail.com.
Nice. We also have some... We also have some events coming up in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania. Some cool things happening there. And hopefully, even if this is later in life, that there's still more cool things happening there. I hope that you send us cool places that we can check out so that we can come to a place near you to do sound healing, or we could sell our crystal art there, or just like share with you crystal energy and how we work with it. We could just come to a talk there, a class on meditation. But we really like doing sound baths. We like to doing this thing called psychic sound, where he does a sound bath and I give everybody card readings. Yeah. If you didn't know, I really love giving card readings. I gave a couple before recording this podcast today, and it was powerful. Nice. They both have been return people, and they've told me I changed their life. And it's so empowering. Yeah. I don't ask people to tell me that, but they just do. Mm-hmm. Like this girl, she had a baby after I told her, and I'm always nervous to tell people that one. But then you know how many people that have told me they've had that baby after? Almost every person I think I've ever told has come back and kept a connection with me. Yeah. Even if I just met them once in that moment and told them that, they came back and they're like, that happened.
Even if they just needed like a spark of belief and you were that spark, that's like...
Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm right every time. Definitely not.
Because they have a reminder of that their whole lives.
Yeah, I think cards are like a message that you need to hear, not necessarily just your future. I think they're the message that you need to hear in that moment to make a choice on what your destiny is going to be.
It's just like, it's like a sign, a post sign. You know, a sign to tell you what, like, exit to get off of and stuff.
Yeah. So cool. I give card readings. I do monthly ones. Selo does meditations, private meditations. We do group things, in-person things, sound
make people
things.
Meditations.
We got some meditation CDs.
Make some music for people.
We do cool stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We try, at least. We want to give you guys what you want. You guys asked for this, so we have it for you. Let us know where you need to find it. We'll send you a link. We've been creating content for as long as we have been able to.
As long as we've been together.
5 years.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. It means we're doing something right.
Mm-mm.
All right. So we'll see you in the next podcast. I hope you stay awake and shine on always.
Oh, yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
For many of us, spirituality is just the quest to find essence or true meaning and to really just connect with a higher consciousness.
Connecting with your spirituality is very important in this life. By becoming mindful of all of it, you can realize where you are and if that is leading you to where you want to go.
Listen to the little simple things, because it's those little simple things that are going to shift you vibrationally in such a way that will prepare you to become very intuitively minded and ready to step forward on the next part of your path.
I hope you can feel the love that's inside you, it's inside me, that connects us.
Thanks for shining on with us.